Hello again. I'm Donna with the Quilt Store in Broomfield.
And I'm Fran with the quilt store called Village Dry Goods in Brigham City, Utah. It's not the
We don't know
quilt
where we
store.
are.
It's really not the quilt store. It's Village Dry Goods Quilt Shop in Brigham City, Utah.
And we're mom and daughter duo, and we're sitting here helping you with some fun tips and tricks for quilting. We hope that you've been able to watch some of our previous videos.
Yes.
And we're carrying on with some more, helping you in your quilting journey and get better at your skills and maybe learn some new things.
Yes.
Speaking of new,
Oh, yes.
I think I might have a new one that some people are scared to try.
I think you really do, including me. I think I do it backwards. So I'm really excited to watch you
Watch
do this
the video.
as well.
Okay.
I am.
Well,
I am.
what are we talking about? We're talking about piecing curves. Look at this darling, darling block. It's super cute, but it's a little scary. It's got some
hold
curves.
it for you so you can show them.
We've got to make 8 little 3-inch curved pieces. This block is typically called a drunkard's path. You can make it in any size. This one is our 3-inch size finished, and I'm going to show you what the tools that you need to do that and a quick little tip. I think my biggest thing that helped me with making curves was my clamshell quilt that I made with Latifa Safir. Excellent, excellent at teaching how to do curves. And I made a whole quilt of
really
clamshells,
pretty.
curve after curve after curve. I'm not scared of curves no more.
I still am a little.
You need to make a
I
clammy
need
quilt.
to make a clammy quilt.
Okay, so let's go to the cut table and see what tools we need and how to get started. All right, we'll throw little Miss Rosie the Riveter block over here. And what you're going to want to do with making a curved is you're going to need to make some kind of template. Whatever pattern you have is going to come with a paper template probably or something for you to copy. If you have to make a photocopy, make sure it's at the actual size that you want. And then we're going to take that and trace it onto template plastic. You could use cardstock if you want, if you don't have any plastic. I do really like the plastic. You can see I've already cut. This comes in a sheet about that big, but this I've used it several times, so it lasts quite a while. And it's what I like about it is you can see through it, so it's really easy to see my template where I'm going to be tracing. Okay, so I'm going to just lay that on there, find a good spot, use your best use of your template plastic so it lasts a while. Okay, so I have my 2 pieces. This one is called a convex curve that goes out, or sometimes people call that the pie. And then this piece is a concave because it goes in like you caved it in. That's how I remember. Or some people call it the crust. Okay, so we've got our pie and our crust.
I'm getting hungry.
I know, me too. It
Okay.
must be dinner time.
Okay.
Okay, so you need your template plastic. Then you're going to take your template plastic and you're gonna.
How do you cut your template plastic out?
Well,
Is there
I
a
just use paper scissors, and honestly, I mean, I just draw on with really any kind of pen. Even a pencil will leave a light mark, so you can draw it with a pencil. You can use a Sharpie if you want, but you gotta let it dry; it'll smear.
Yes.
And then you don't want to get it on your fabric, so
Especially not your white fabric.
yeah, that's why I prefer to stick with working with a pencil. So just any little cheapy big pencil is great. So I'm also going to use that to just trace it right onto my fabric. I'm going to trace onto the wrong side of my fabric, and I just so happen to have this little scrap that's exactly the right size piece, basically. So I'm using the sandpaper board to do my tracing just because it keeps it doesn't keep your template from moving, but it keeps your fabric from moving. So if it moves, you could spray your template with some Grippy. This is amazing non-slip coating stuff that you just spray right on to your template plastic, and then it won't slide. Yeah, I should do that. Okay, so I have this one. Then I would have also traced out all my bread pieces. Remember I said for this we need 8. So you're going to do this 8 times. You can cut through a couple layers if you stick a pin in it.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you can cut through a couple. I wouldn't do too many because the more layers that you have, it's going to slide. But these scissors are great because they are serrated and they kind of grab it. So you can, if I do cut through more than one layer, I will stick a pin kind of right in the middle so they don't slide around.
What kind of scissors are you using?
I'm using the Karen K. Buckley serrated.
Yes, you are.
I am. So these, you can see how doing a whole Drunkard's Path quilt is going to take you a while because cutting all those pieces out by hand.
It's not a 4-patch?
No, it's not a 4-patch.
Okay.
But the great thing is there are actually Drunkard Path templates out there.
Yes.
If I was going to make, that are like a ruler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I was going to make an entire Drunkard's Path quilt, I would invest
absolutely
in those. But for this, we're just going to make 8. So my little templates are good. Now look at that. Does that look like that's going to fit?
No.
No, it does not. So
no.
Funny thing is, I learned this from Latifa, is the only place that your curves are exactly the same is at your 1/4 inch seam. That's the only place. I mean, you can see here that curve.
No.
It's not even the same shape of the curve.
No.
Okay, so the only place is at your 1/4 inch seam. So what we're going to do, I'm going to flip this back over to the right side of my fabric, which I have a really hard time, and a friend gave me a tip about how to see the right side of your fabric, is use a little black light.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to find the center of this and the center of this. And so I'm going to fold my piece right along my curve, and then where it folds at, I just give it a little fingernail press.
Fingernail
A
press.
fingernail press. Makes a nice little crease. And then I'm going to do that. Grab this. Boy, that sandpaper board really grips it.
It's a great sandpaper board.
Okay, so now I'm going to, on this curve, I'm going to fold again, and I'm going to make a little fingernail crease there, okay? So I've got my 2 creases. Now I'm going to make sure, this obviously doesn't have a right or wrong, but you want to make sure you're putting right sides together, and we're going to put them together like this, because this is how it's going to go, right? Both right sides, flip that over, because this is where we're going to sew. And I know it looks very scary, but it's really not. Okay, so let's put a pin right there. And then I like to come over and pin this one actually to the left. Now when you're going to pin this, you're going to have feel like a lot of bulk. But what you want when you put your pin in is you want to get that edge nice and straight together. Okay, so that is where I'm going to put my pin. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over. This is just kind of the way that I've figured out is easiest, because this is where we're going to start. We're going to start on this side, and again, I'm going to pull this around so that that edge is flat with that edge. And sometimes you just have to play with it. I can tell you, the smaller the curve, I think the first clamshell quilt I made was like 10 inches, so I had a 10-inch curve. That was
nice and gentle.
A good weight, yeah. So this little 3-inch curve is going to be a little bit tighter and a little trickier, but it's doable. You just have to go slow. So this is what it's going to look like all pinned. Okay, so let's go over to the sewing machine and give that a sew. Okay, so here we're ready to sew our curve. You're going to want the convex piece or the pie piece to be on top. And I know it looks like it's just going to pucker up on us, but as we go slow, that is going to work in, because our curve is actually exactly the same geometrical curve, I guess is the best way to say it. So let's just put that right under. Again, we want it, this is definitely a 1/4 inch seam situation. So we're going to start with this edge at the 1/4 inch, and I'm going to just take first a couple of stitches. No need to lock these stitches, and this is really important that either you have a machine that the needle position stays down when you take your foot off the pedal, or if it doesn't, you have to turn it and make sure that it's down, because what we're going to do is we're going to just constantly be pulling this back around to the back as we go, okay? And you want these edges to stay even. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple. I'm going to slow this puppy down. This is one of those machines that has a slower, faster setting. Okay, so you see how this is starting to dog pile or snow pile right here in front of my presser foot? I'm just going to keep just kind of lifting and pulling that to the back and see how that pulls it. There we go. Just do a couple stitches, lift that, and pull it around to the back. And you just don't want to sew any puckers in there. So we can lift and pull to the left and the back. Oop, I had a little earthquake there, sorry. Okay, keeping that at the 1/4 inch. And you don't want to sew over your pin. See how even just lifting, when I just lifted up the foot, it took that pucker right out. So just keep coming around. And we're pulling this up into the back. And if I just keep tugging on that up to the back, and you'll see that it does kind of pucker up and back there, but it's not puckering where my seam is at. Okay, let's see how we did. Okay, I forgot to take my pin out. Now, see, it kind of looks puckered, but look at this. It's not. When you press that, let's take it over. Let's take that over to the pressing mat. All right. Let's give this a press and see how it did. Now, it doesn't really matter which way that you press this. You can press either direction. So you can press out. Is there one over there that I pressed in? No, I pressed them all out. It kind of depends.
These are pressed in.
Oh yeah, see on here, I pressed these all in because these I pressed, but I think I started pressing them this way because the next one I make, I'm going to press those out because I want those to nest. So, whoops, there we go. There is your little, now I would take my little 3.5 inch ruler and trim that up. Just make it so it's more square. All right.
Here we are again.
Here we are, yes, at the end of our curve piecing. I hope that
piecing,
took some of the fear out of it for you.
There you go.
And
so I think what I got the most out of that is go slow.
Go slow.
And pick that foot up.
Yes.
And make sure you're keeping all of that together as you're sewing. So don't feel like you can sew it all at once.
No.
You're going to do it in little baby steps.
Yeah, and if you have to turn the speed down on your machine, don't be afraid to do that. And if you don't have that capability, just don't push on the gas really hard.
Don't floor it.
Go slow.
Go slow.
Go slow, lift, pull to the left and the back. All right. Bye,
So
everybody.
Thank you all for joining us. Bye now.